Will Tate, Andy, do you just tell us how that one came about?
Yeah, when obviously Jake Mamo made the decision to obviously retire from the game, there was a little bit of cap space, a little bit of money. We had a look in the overseas market. There wasn't much obviously there available to us. So what we didn't want to do was make a knee-jerk signing and get someone in and waste that quarter spot. So with a little bit of that cap space, the opportunity to have a look at Lewis Johnson came up and Will Tate, and we thought that was a better fit for us in terms of looking at them for the here and now, but also with eyes on the future as well.
So was he a player that you identified yourself?
Yeah, we looked at a couple of options, and I think the big thing for us was just making sure that they fitted that that age profile with the best years in front of them, and Lewis and Will certainly do that. The strength of Will is he's comfortable in numerous positions. He can cover both wings, he can cover both centres, and at a push he can play fullback. So he fits a real versatile tag for us, and is someone who'll provide competition for places right across the back line.
Does have that utility value, but is there a position within there that you sort of would like to see him knocked down on a more permanent basis?
When I spoke with him, his preference is, the centre spots, which, is good for us, to put some pressure on the likes of Maher Fanoa and Jordan Turner and, Jack Broadbent. It's a real strength, his ball carrying ability, and, he's done really, really well in training this week. Showed some nice touches when we was doing some left and right stuff, and, found a couple of passes to his winger, which was, good to see. And he's athletic, and he's got a good size about him. He fits a real nice, profile as a centre outside back. He's standing at 6'1", 6'2", and can move. So he's someone who I think is going to be exciting for us.
He's not in the squad though. Did you consider putting him in straight in this week or not?
No, not this week. Felt it was probably a little bit too soon. He's not played a great deal of rugby. This season. And I think in those positions in the outside back, certainly against Salford, I think it would have been a little bit unfair, to throw him in against a team that are really, really expansive. And he hasn't had much reps in terms of building combinations and that type of stuff. The likes of obviously Broadbent, Fanoa and Turner are a little bit more experienced. They've spent a fair bit of time in our system, and they've built some relationships with the wingers and pivots. So I think it was important, to keep those combinations building, and Will obviously needs to start building those relationships. So he's taken some positive steps this week in terms of showcasing what he's capable of to his peers, and building on those relationships, like I say, which will help him moving forward.
Gareth Widop back in the squad. Does Jack Broadbent's form in that position give you a bit of a decision to make this week?
Yeah, it does give us a little bit of a decision to make, but I think the experience that Gaz brings, and the kicking game that he brings, I think it's something that we've done well for the couple of weeks. Obviously, with Jack in there, Jack's probably more of a run threat, but like I say, Gaz is a very, very experienced footballer, and I think we're a stronger team when he's in and around that 17.
Adam Milner's back in as well. You'll be glad to see that. Just while we're talking, or just while I mentioned Adam Milner, there seems to be constant speculation of him going to Wakefield. Is that A, something you've heard, and B, is there anything in that at all?
They inquired a couple of weeks ago, but it was something more or less dropped onto my table basically the week I took charge. I think it was leading to the Huddersfield week. At that time, Paul McShane wasn't playing. The strength of Adam is obviously, he's a competent man. He's competent in the background. He's competent at 13. So it didn't fit, at the time. And Adam's obviously come in and done a really, really good job for us. He was our he was our player of the match against Leeds. Really went after the opposition, did a really, really good job, and then he backed it up with a real solid performance against Warrington. Unfortunately, he copped a 2-game ban, which impacted on the momentum that he was building in the team. but he's someone who, I've got a lot of respect for and been a great servant for Castleford, and, will be good to see, obviously, Adam back in that 17 this week.
So he's not moving to Wakefield as it
No,
stands?
not moving to Wakefield, no.
And just on you as well, it's that perennial question every week. Obviously, if you're identifying players to bring in like Will Tate, that might suggest that the senior management think you might be the man to take them forward on a more permanent basis, Andy.
Well, hopefully that's the case. Thursday night, another opportunity to either get closer to the job or get further away. But like I've said, for 3 or 4 weeks now, the club are doing their due diligence and they're going through a process, which I understand. Hopefully, once they've gone through the process and they've looked at the applicants, I'm the person that gets a job on merit, not because of necessity and not because it's the easy option. It's because I'm the right person for the job. I'll be speaking, with the club in the coming days, and hopefully, what I have to say and what I see as a project for this club. It'll be on the same along the same lines as the board of directors, and we can get something done. But like I said, the club are going through a process, and I think it's all the right to go through a process, and hopefully once to go through that process, I'm still the best person for the job.
Be nice to go into that interview with another win in your back pocket, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
definitely. And on Sky, it'd be great to, go with another win. I think performances have been building. I wasn't happy with the second half against Wakefield. We played too conservative and didn't throw the ball about enough and didn't ask, Wakefield enough questions. We've spoken about that in our review. We've worked on that this week. I'm hopeful that we play a little bit more expansive and with a little bit more creativity against Salford. So it's really, really important to get that balance right. If you turn over too much ball against Salford, they're a team that can damage you because of their offensive strike. But we need to make sure that we're asking questions of them defensively. So, we've done a fair bit of work on video and a little bit of work on the training fields. Hopefully, we'll see a good positive performance tomorrow night on Sky.
Just lastly from me, then, how do you feel Salford are going at the moment?
They're going okay. I think Paul Rowley, he's done a decent job in going down the route of, they've got injuries, etc., etc. But they've got Partington back this week by all accounts, and Ormondroyd's in, and that Span's always on the field. Braley, Croft, and Sneed haven't missed many games, and they managed to get Ackers back against Lee. So they're a dangerous team. Well coached. Paul's done an exceptional job with Salford, and you can see the imprints of what he's done at previous clubs. The stuff that he used to preach and coach at Lee, and then the stuff he preached and coached at Toronto, and it's evident in Salford. Very, very good on the transition. Very dangerous on players 1, 2, and 3. Get the back 5 behind the ball, and they're prepared to play. Highly skilled, and they're a better defensive team than probably they get credit for. Teams have struggled to break them down. They work exceptionally hard for each other. The likes of Stone and Wright in the back row, do a lot of unseen work for the team. So they're a team we respect. They're a good side, and we'll need to perform well to beat them.
Just one very quick one from me. You mentioned obviously Jack Broadbent. He's been playing out 6 for you. Just wondered how good he's been since he joined you this season.
Yeah, he's been exceptional. He came with a good reputation, good experience at Leeds, played to a high level at Leeds, but wanted that challenge and probably that assurance that he was going to be in the 17 week in, week out. And I think his performances have warranted him being in the 17 week in, week out. And we're at the point now where you've got to find a spot for him, whether that's playing at half back, whether that's playing at full back, centre, wing, wherever it may be. He's someone who can create something out of nothing, and that was evident against Catalan. Got that instinct to score in a try, which was showcased in the first try he scored over there, and then the second try was an exceptional one, which not many players in the Castleford shirt would have been able to score. Great footwork, good speed and acceleration, and he's a really, really dangerous player, and he's been exceptional for us this season.
You surprised that Leeds let him go?
It's difficult to comment on why other coaches, make decisions like they do. Jack, good kid, he just may not have fitted, Ron's style or profile of player. When you look at their profile of player in terms of their outside backs, Darrell Olferts is, 6'1", 6'2", 100 kilograms and carries really well out of backfield. Fossatua's the same, then McDonald's the same. They've got some big, strong outside backs, and the player who's probably similar in terms of profile to Jack Broadbent is Harry Newman. So I don't think there's any shame in Jack obviously moving away from Leeds for an opportunity to play at Castleford. When you look at the striking strength that Ron's already got at his disposal and what he brought in, so it's difficult to comment on the reasons why they may have let him go.
Yeah, has it been a stressful time, because you're not only trying to get results, are you, but now you're preparing for Salford and a job interview. How are you handling it all?
Like spinning plates, the circus acts. You've got a couple of plates spinning there, and a couple of plates spinning there. No, it's been okay. I think the big thing for me, James, is I've got experience. I took over at Hull FC probably in the worst possible time for the game in the last 20 years, with pay cuts, COVID, home games being away from home, the uncertainty of where the game was going in terms of future and security and that type of stuff. And I manage it, so I've been able to draw on that experience in these moments of adversity and difficulty. I've got a great support network in terms of the staff. Scott Morell's been sensational as my assistant, and the rest of the coaching team are very, very experienced, so they've picked up a little bit of the slack when I've needed them to. And then my home network, very, very strong family network, and they know when to switch off and not ask rugby questions, and they know when it's just back to being dad, husband, son, etc. So I'm comfortable with the situation, and I'm excited by the opportunity that I've got. I think it's been evident in my manner and how I've been. I really want the job, and I think I show my emotions, buzzing when we win, and gutted when we lose. But that's what you love, that competitive week to week pressure. It's something which is addictive, and it's a strange sort of stress, but it's one you get used to, and it's one that is very, very addictive, and I want it to continue.
Reading between the lines, are coming to the end of the search now. Would you expect this to be your last game in interim charge?
If we win, I hope so. If we lose, I want to get another week. So yeah, it's one of those. The club have been very, very open, and told me the stages that they've gone through. They've taken applications, they've done interviews, they've had chats, they've allowed applicants, to showcase what they're about in terms of their coaching philosophies, etc., etc. I'm going to get that opportunity, on Friday, and if I'm given the job at the end of that process, it's because I'm the best person for the job, and that I'll take a great deal of confidence from, because, if rumour is true, the applicants have been, good ones. And if I come out, being the best man for the job, for what Castleford Tigers want, it'll be a very, very proud moment. And hopefully I can do a good job in my final part of the interview process, and, nail the position.
Yeah, fingers crossed for you. A big couple of days then. Just on the away record, you didn't win many on the road last season, did you? And haven't won this year, although you went close in Perpignan. Is it something that's been spoken about as a group?
No, it isn't really. We're just focusing on week to week performance. If we're at home, great. If we're away, you've just got to navigate, a little bit of traffic and a little bit of travel. Thursday night shouldn't be too bad. Friday nights are a little bit more difficult. That M62, can be a challenge. But we haven't really spoke about home and away form. We're just talking about performance and the way that the guys have trained this week, and how they've spoken, the confidence that we feel as though we're building. I'm anticipating, a good show. So we'll need to be good because, like I say, Salford are a good side. They had a good win at the weekend against Lee. We'll need to, perform well to win.
Yeah, after a stressful week last week, are you looking up the table now and leaving that kind of stuff behind you?
Yeah, that's what I hope. Hopefully we'll get the momentum and we'll keep building, and every week our performances improve. If our performance improves from last week against Wakefield, we'll go somewhere to, getting a result against Salford. Defensively, I thought we were very, very good against Wakefield, and we'll need to be because Salford probably pose a different type of threat and probably ask more questions with a ball, and the lateral movement and the way that they're able to get the ball, to their edges very, very quickly is a different type of threat. But we need to make sure that when we get the ball, we ask some questions as well. We can't play too conservative, and I felt we did that in that second half against Wakefield. Played far too conservative. I understand the reasons why: pressure of the game, the situation, the importance of fueling our energy tanks to defend, and the importance of getting to the end of your sets was so important last week against Wakefield. But we need to make sure we get that balance right this week. Play a little bit of rugby, but also be mindful of the process of completions, etc. So that's a challenge for us on Thursday night.
Yeah, you mentioned their attack, and their spine seems to be their rain or shine. I'm sure you'd love to get in that situation where you can get some regular game time into your spine. You haven't scored many points yet, but are you confident you can throw plenty back at them as well?
Yeah, definitely. Against Wakefield, showed it on video review on our fix up day. There's probably 6 opportunities where we pick the right pass, hit the lead rather than the man out the back, or hit the man out the back rather than the lead. We're stripping Wakefield of numbers and creating some real try-scoring opportunities. But just where we're at, we're just not quite executing the right pass. So we're looking to obviously improve that area against Salford. Like you say, it's been difficult for us. We haven't had our span on the field. That was what we was excited about when we signed them this year. Now levelled Jacob Miller, Gareth Widdop and Paul McShane, along with Joe Westerman. We felt is a very, very creative span. Niall's missed some games for injury. Gaz has missed some games for illness. Mac has missed a couple of games for injury. Joe Westerman's missing a game this week for suspension. So, we're still not able to get into that consistent run of playing week in, week out. Albeit we've done some good reps on the training field. There's nothing beats playing. So I'm looking forward to when we can get a run of games where they're on the field consistently.
Obviously, you put a lot of importance on last week's game. Are you putting the same kind of importance on this? Because if you win, you get within 2 points of Salford, and you're starting to look up at that top 6. Yeah,
definitely. We looked at a bank of 4 games, and Wakefield was that starting one, along with Salford, Hull KR and Lee. I think the opportunity, to get some wins, is there for us, but we've got to make sure that we take care of what we can control, which is performance. We did that to an extent against Wakefield, and we got the result. We'll need to improve our performance this week against Salford in order to take out the result and get another 2 points.
Just a quick one. Are you remaining as Wayne's assistant for England? Is that locked in and finalised?
Sean Wayne, yeah.
Yeah.
They're on the lookout for another assistant. But I'll be one of obviously Sean's assistant, for the French test and, the potential end of season test too.
Oh, good stuff. So do you have much contact with Sean week to week or day to day over England, or is your job literally just Cass at the minute?
No. I probably speak to Wayne once a week, sometimes twice. We share phone calls, text messages with regards to players in form, the England programme. He's a mentor for me in terms of coaching. So if there's any issues that I've got that I need to ask a little bit of advice on, he's always on the end of the phone. And we've become really, really good friends. He's someone I'll definitely keep in contact with, for the rest of my career. Because, we've shared some special moments together. And he's someone I respect hugely. So, yeah, he's always there on the end of the phone.